Stumbling home, we don't know where we're going. Should've turned back hours ago. Out of our minds, I guess we're sleeping outside. You're still a good time, even in the cold.
Hello, welcome to Defender Adventure. We are Paul and Chrissy from the UK, and with our Land Rover Defender that we have called Stirling, we are travelling the world.
Guess we need a new plan. There's a motel a mile down the road.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you.
Good morning and welcome to a bright, cold and beautiful Maine. Yes, I'm in the state of Maine in the good old US of A. I crossed the border from Canada yesterday and drove down through a town called Jackman, another town called Greenville, and stayed last night at Lily State Park. I had a first there. I fed a ginger biscuit to a deer. Here we go then, try this. Oh, you're so gentle. Oh, like a crunch. Another one?
She likes ginger biscuits.
Yeah, who doesn't?
That's her treat because we've been away.
Very nice.
Okay, I think you've had enough. You've had enough, huh?
The campground was great. A few quirky bits. Now, not a lot gets said these days about COVID and COVID restrictions, but this campground still has some COVID signs in place, particularly with regard to social distancing. And I think we're all aware that if you are social distancing, you should stand around 6 feet away from each other. But if you're not sure exactly what is 6 feet, they've got some very useful information here. You can either choose to be 3 raccoons away, or a black bear, or 2 loons. How useful. But I got up early this morning. It was still dark. It was about 5:30 when I woke up this morning. There'd been a heavy frost overnight, and I came out to look for some moose, and I was lucky enough to see one, albeit only for a short time. It's really beautiful around here. The trip from Canada to here yesterday was fantastic. The fall colours are coming out now. There's reds and yellows and oranges everywhere. Yeah, it's really stunning.
I watch you as you drive. Do you know I'm looking? And I can't help but smile. Do you know how much I love you? You put my favorite song on. I put my feet up, and we just sing along, and I can't help but feeling just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here together?
Here is a bolt head. So where's that come out of? Spin it 180 degrees, Paul. Where's that bolt come from? I was just trying to see if there was a bolt missing.
Yeah.
That's what we in the trade call the damaged.
Eft.
We spell it with an F.
Yeah.
I think we're going to have to pull that apart, Paul.
Yeah.
Look, we've got nothing to lose, but to pull these bolts out of here,
Yep.
we're not going to bother changing the settings of the bearings. We don't know, now that's a bolt in there, where's it come from? All the bolts seem to be in the... Wait a minute. Hold on a minute. There's no bolt heads on any of them. Look. I was looking at this side. See, there's the other end of the bolt. Can you see here?
Yeah, yeah, okay.
There's the head.
There's the bolt.
Where's the head? None of them. There's no heads on any bolts.
Are they all sheared off?
Yeah. There should be bolts going through that way. Christ, you were lucky. You're lucky that's held together. In the trade we say the newness has worn off.
It's just had the edge taken off.
Let's go and have a look in the diff casing to see if the heads are in the diff casing. Put your hand in. What do you find?
Well, possibly. Shit, drop it. Possibly bolt heads. Yeah.
What the... They've been over-tightened, I think. There's no other reason, because they didn't shear off, did they?
It's amazing those gears haven't exploded in there.
I'm quite a testament to Land Rover engineering. They
Yeah.
don't need bolts.
I mean, there's so many bits of metal in there.
Holy shit! No wonder it was noisy. The sparkly metal inside.
Oh yeah.
Can you see it?
Yeah, it's like
Just put your finger.
like a
on,
graphite in there,
yeah,
isn't it?
put your finger on that side. This.
Look, on my finger, look.
Yeah, that's what I said when we drained that oil. I knew there was something wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that there. Look at this big scar in the back.
This?
Yeah. That's probably where bolts exploded.
Yeah.
I have never seen one of those bolts ever snap. Not all of them.
No?
That's what threw me off when I was looking at them. I thought there
It looks
wasn't
so
one.
neat and tidy, doesn't it?
Well, let's go back to the bench and we'll take that diff apart and see what's salvageable.
Okay.
You've heard about singing for your supper. Paulie's cooking. This is a little rocket stove made out of the axle of the Defender.
Well, we're going to place the order tomorrow morning for a new rear diff. We think we're going to go for the heavy duty upgrade.
I think it's the best.
I think maybe just the sheer fact that we've got a constant 3.5 ton load, very heavy, a lot of that weight on the car is on the back axle. And not all of the roads we've been along are nice smooth paved. But it's nothing that a curry and a beer can't fix.
That's right. Get a bit more.
What can go wrong?
I've been reading the comments of that, that last video.
Yeah.
And it's shocking how many people have had the same problem.
I'm pleased that we found it. I'm pleased I'm not the only one that's had the problem. But I feel like I am the only one that I've come across that's lost all bolt heads.
Yep.
But that's not a record to be proud of.
We usually when it's really hot like this, we like a nice refreshing sherry. Little sip, the tiniest sip.
In our retirement home here.
Yeah, you didn't see what we've done, eh? Paul's got his pop-top tent on his truck. Well, we couldn't get it quite the way up, so we took the wheels off and dropped it on some axle stands so we can get a proper height. It's even on the stub axles, it was a bit too high, wasn't it? Yeah, so it's kind of comfortable. But that's it, isn't it? I mean, I wonder how many Land Rovers are original.
Yeah.
They're all...
It's like the old boys, Rodney's broom.
No, and it was...
Triggers.
Trigger's broom.
Trigger's broom.
Oh, 5 heads and 4 shafts.
5 heads and 4 shafts, but it's still the original.
No, that's right.
Oh, they were the days.
Very sorry, but I just feel I need to interrupt here. I just need to give a little bit of an explanation. So far,
we've identified that the rear differential has failed. Our option was to buy a replacement differential from a British company. It was a heavy duty one. Their website showed the unit as in stock. However, when we came to place the order, they advised it would take 3 weeks before it would be ready for shipping, and then another week or two to ship to Canada. Mike actually had a 300 TDI Salisbury axle, a heavy duty axle, complete with new differential, the whole axle, on top of one of his containers. And he suggested as an alternative that we could modify and adapt that axle to fit my vehicle. And that's what we decided to do. So the next couple of weeks after we ordered some new seals and bearings and other parts, new hub shafts, prop shaft, a number of parts. And the next couple of weeks was spent modifying Mike's heavy duty axle to fit my vehicle. Unlucky that I broke down, but so lucky that I broke down within a relatively short distance of him, and to find someone with his knowledge and the fact that he had this axle, it was great, and the way he made time for me and helped me was fantastic. Everything seems to be working very well, and I owe a huge debt of gratitude to Mike Wesson at Britannica Restorations. If you're really interested in Land Rovers and you want to see the repair work that we did to the vehicle in full detail, I know Mike's got something like around 4 hours of video that he took of the work we did to the vehicle. Then he has a YouTube channel, Britannica Restorations. But yeah, thank you very much, Mike. So, mustn't keep saying so. Right. I left Mike's, everything was good, seemed good, but I wasn't confident enough to go too far from Mike's. So I just drove a little way that first day, and ended up in a town called Lac-Mégantic. Now, if you're Canadian, you're obviously very familiar, I guess, with the events that happened there some years ago, but I'd never heard of Lac-Mégantic. So it was quite a shock to have a wander around the town and find that back in July of 2013 they suffered a major rail disaster. I looked up on the internet to get some more details, and I found a BBC report, and it says here that on the 6th of July 2013 47 people died in the small eastern Quebec town in the major derailment. Most victims had to be identified from DNA samples and dental records. It says just after 1 o'clock in the morning, on Saturday morning, an unattended runaway train carrying over 7 million litres of petroleum crude oil barreled into Lac-Mégantic at 65 miles an hour and jumped the tracks near the centre of the town. It slammed to a stop and erupted in flames, and the ensuing inferno destroyed most of the lakeside town's downtown core. 27 children lost parents, over 2,000 people were evacuated, and dozens of homes were destroyed. As you would expect, there is a memorial. They've sort of done a paved area with some stones for people to go there and reflect on what happened there previously. And they've got an information board there which shows a picture of what the street, the main downtown area used to look like before the incident is such a contrast to look from the picture up to see what there is there now. Yeah, quite an emotional experience there actually. But all of this took place in the shadow of this building here. Make of that what you will. After my night in Lac-Mégantic, I wandered on, not entirely sure where I was heading for, but ended up getting close to the border, so I crossed into Maine. And I think you saw earlier in the video that I drove and spent my first night at Lily Bay State Park. I woke the following morning, and after seeing the moose early in the morning, I went for a drive to look for some more moose really, but I ended up at a small campground on the edge of Moosehead Lake, and it was there that I met 3 hunters, a family of 3 hunters, 2 brothers, Wayne and Steve, and Wayne's son Justin, or as I came to call them, the Partridge family, because that was what they were hunting for, and without much luck. But they made it very clear to me that hunting partridge was just an excuse for the family to get together once a year and go out and spend time with each other and have a few beers and tell a few jokes. I mentioned to them that it was my birthday. I'm not sure if I've said anything earlier in the video that it was my birthday. I probably didn't. I don't like to talk about it. But I explained to them that it was my birthday, and they took me in. They took me partridge hunting, and when we got back I cooked dinner and we had a few beers by the campfire, and it was a very pleasant birthday experience overall. They then cooked me in return egg and sausage muffin for breakfast, cheeseburger for lunch, and took me out partridge hunting again the second morning, and we did catch some partridge this time. I had a tremendous time with those guys, and hopefully at some point I'll be able to catch up with them all again. So thank you very much, Justin, Steve and Wayne, Partridge family. Moving on from that campground the following morning, I ended up at another riverside campground that night and got speaking to a young couple who said that before I left Maine I really must go and see Acadia National Park. And although it was a little bit out of my sort of route south, I thought, why not? So that's where I am now. I'm not actually in the national park right now, I'm in a campground just outside of the park, but I'm going off now to see what Acadia National Park is all about.
I'm like a river that's overflowed. The sooner you know it, the less do we hurt. Let me speak the truth. I know you don't want to face it. You think it's too late, but I can see past the rain. Won't you lay it on me? Turn the page and burn it. Let's make up a big bonfire on the beach with the stars as our lighters, and throw our problems in the flame. Throw our problems in the flame. We fell down to the bottom.
I'm not sure I dare go on the beach. Just over there is England. So if you are looking this way, hello Chrissy. So this is the top of Cadillac Mountain in Acadia National Park in Maine. It's a beautiful sunny day, but very, very cold, real hard frost this morning. And right up the top here, there's quite a wind with quite a wind chill factor. So I've just bobbed down here behind these rocks. Otherwise all you'd hear is The views are spectacular of all the islands around here. Slightly ruined around the corner by cruise ships parked up. The fall colours are gonna be fantastic. They're just a little, just too early at the moment. I was told to expect lots of people to be here, and there are. There are coaches and lots of people walking around. But apparently, one of the reasons many people come to the top of this mountain is as this is the first place in the country, in the States, that you can see the sunrise in the morning. I couldn't get a time slot. They allocate time slots now. You have to reserve ahead of time between the months of May and October. So anybody else thinking of coming, my recommendation, unless you want to see that sunrise first thing in the morning, my recommendation would be to come later in the day, nearer to sunset. Other than that, it looks like a beautiful park, and I'm going to spend the rest of today and probably tomorrow going on some hikes and doing a bit of exploration. Well, I've been up to the summit of Cadillac Mountain. I'm currently driving around the park loop road, and it's getting near to lunch. So I think I'm going to head out of the park to Bar Harbour and see if I can't track down something I've always wanted to try, which is a Maine lobster roll. I won't know whether it's a good one or not because I've never had one before to compare it with, but it just sounds delicious. I'm now in Bar Harbour. Just come down here to take in the view. It's very, very busy. Lots of boats coming and going, and especially lots of people coming and going. But I'm just going to walk into the town, which is just over here, and see if I can find myself a lobster roll. Well, Bar Harbour was a little bit too busy for me, so I've taken my, or I ordered my lobster roll to go, and I've driven out the town a little way and parked up on the coast, and I'm going to see my lobster roll. Ooh, with fries. There's a surprise. Not a bad one. Oh, they've got sweet corn in it. That was, I wouldn't necessarily have said sweet corn and lobster went together, but I'll give it a go. Feedback in a minute. Acadia National Park is made up of a number of areas on Mount Desert Island. This morning I was on what I guess you would call the Maine area. This is a rough path. But so was everybody else. And I was getting very frustrated with the level of traffic and the level of people, and I was also unsure what exactly everybody was queuing up to see. There was cars parked everywhere, people everywhere, and it appears that they were just looking to see a sandy beach and a lake more than anything. Not that I'm not saying they're not pretty, but they're not anything too different to many other sandy beaches and lakes that I've seen. So I called in at the visitor centre, said I feel like I'm not getting the most out of my visit here, and explained why. And she suggested I headed a little further west, over to another part of the island and another area of Acadia National Park where I could go for a nice hike and be away from the crowds. So that's what I'm now doing, and hopefully all this effort I'm putting in on this terrible path is going to reward me with some viewpoints. Apologies for the heavy breathing, but I've been living in a workshop for nearly a month. Haven't done any exercise other than crawled under the car. Oh God, where's this going? It's been uphill ever since I got out of the car. I started down at sea level. It's just been a constant climb. It's pretty warm as well up here. I thought it was going to be much cooler than this. But as you can see behind, I am starting to see a view. Oh, here's a sign. Valley Peak, elevation 530 feet. That's what I've climbed since I left the car. Got a good sweat on now. Ought to stop and take my coat off, but like most men, if we don't have a woman here to tell us to do it, we just carry on regardless. Yeah, the views are coming. It's actually much better now than it was first thing in the morning. Now the sun's moved around a little bit. So this is more like it. This is the view that I was hoping for when I was climbing uphill. Right, the time has come, the walrus said. I have had a couple of good days here in Acadia National Park and in the campground here, and I'm freshly showered and feeling good. The car's full of water, got a nice fresh coffee here, so I'm going to hit the road. Still not quite sure where I'm going, but I'm going to follow the road out of the park and head south and maybe a little southwest towards the White Mountains, I think, and we'll see where we end up. But where we do end up won't be for this video, it will be for the next one. So I look forward to seeing you there. Thanks for watching, see you soon.